The chains of silence. The crystalline dust clung to Kara Novik's skin as she straightened her back, stealing a moment's rest from the endless task of mining Celium ore. 6 years of labor under the watchful eyes of the Xanteri Empire had carved lines into her once youthful face. The alien overseers called her Human Resource Unit 8734, but among her own kind, she remained Kara, former engineer of the Earth Exploratory Division, now just another captive on Viridian 6. Unit 8734, resume extraction procedures immediately, chirped the monotone voice of her assigned supervisor drone, its multifaceted eye sensors tracking her every movement. Efficiency reduction detected. Warning noted. 3 warnings meant reconditioning, a euphemism for the neural adjustment that left humans vacant-eyed and compliant for weeks. Kara lowered her head and plunged her extraction tool back into the glittering vein of blue-green ore. The Xanteri needed Celium for their quantum communications network, and humans, with their remarkable dexterity and problem-solving abilities, made perfect mining slaves. "Yes, Supervisor," she replied, the words bitter in her mouth even after all these years. The once proud colony of Viridian 6 had fallen 15 years ago, among the last human outposts to be conquered when the Xanteri swept through this sector with their overwhelming technological superiority. The official broadcasts claimed Earth itself had been quarantined, rendered uninhabitable by Xanteri weapons that altered planetary magnetic fields. Whether that was truth or propaganda, no one knew. Contact with the homeworld had ceased years ago. As the artificial sun began its programmed descent, casting long shadows across the strip-mined landscape, Kara joined the shuffling line of exhausted workers returning to the habitation units. Through the throng, she caught the eye of Elias Chen, a former pilot whose ship had been captured during a supply run. A nearly imperceptible nod passed between them. Tonight's meeting was confirmed. The habitation units, glorified cells with basic sanitation and nutrition dispensers, were the only privacy humans were afforded. Even then, regular scans checked for unauthorized gatherings or prohibited technology. The Xanteri were nothing if not thorough in their subjugation. Hours later, when the night cycle was at its deepest, Kara pressed her palm against a specific pattern of tiles in her washroom. A section of the wall slid silently aside, revealing a narrow passage that shouldn't exist. The humans of Viridian 6 had been quietly modifying their prison for years, stealing moments and materials to create something the Xanteri couldn't detect. The tunnel led to a chamber deep beneath the colony's recycling plant, shielded from scans by the natural radiation of the processing equipment. Already, a dozen figures waited in the dim blue light of a rigged power cell. "Kara," acknowledged Elias, his once robust frame now gaunt from years of labor. "We weren't sure you'd make it. Surveillance in your sector increased after yesterday's inspection." "They're getting paranoid," she replied, settling into the circle. "More ships arrived in orbit today, military-grade by the look of them." An older woman named Maya, who had once been the colony's communications specialist, spoke next. "They have reason to be paranoid. The beacon is active." A hushed silence fell over the gathering. The beacon, an ancient emergency system buried beneath the original colony foundations, had been their project for years. Using scavenged parts and technical knowledge preserved among the captives, they had restored the quantum entanglement transmitter designed to pierce interstellar distances with an encoded distress signal. "You're certain?" Kara asked, her heart quickening despite years of disappointment. Maya nodded, the lines around her eyes crinkling. 3 days ago, the receipt protocol activated. Something out there acknowledged our signal. The news rippled through the group, hope, that dangerous emotion they'd tried to suppress for so long, flickering to life in tired eyes. "It could be automated," cautioned Elias. "An old satellite, a derelict system." "It's not," Maya insisted. The acknowledgement carried a verification code. "Current military protocols. Someone is listening." Someone responded. Kara closed her eyes, memories washing over her. When the Xanteri had first appeared at the edges of colonized space, humanity had been fractured, Its military spread thin across too many worlds. The resulting conquest had been swift and devastating. But there had always been rumors, whispers among the captives, that elements of Earth's fleet had escaped, going dark, regrouping somewhere beyond Centauri reach. "If it's real, they'll increase security further," said Thomas, a former security officer. "Any unusual behavior will be punished. We need to be careful." "We also need to be ready," Kara countered. "If, and it's still a big if, someone is coming, we need to be prepared to help them. The Xantari defenses are formidable. No rescue will succeed without inside assistance." The group spent hours detailing what they knew of the colony's vulnerabilities: shield generators, automated defense systems, communication relays. As former professionals from various fields, their collective knowledge was considerable, though fragmentary after years without access to current systems. When they finally dispersed, returning to their quarters through separate hidden passages, Kara felt something she hadn't experienced in years: purpose beyond survival. The next day brought changes that confirmed their suspicions. Additional Xantari guards patrolled the work areas, their chitinous armor gleaming under the artificial sun. Supervisory drones hovered closer, their scanning frequencies increased. Most telling was the arrival of a sentinel, a higher-caste Xantari with enhanced telepathic abilities, capable of detecting emotional anomalies among subject populations. "Maintain regulation thoughts," announced the colony-wide broadcast system. "Unauthorized hope is sedition. Compliance brings peace." Kara kept her head down, focusing on the mechanical repetition of her mining tasks while keeping her mind carefully blank. The sentinel glided through the work zone, its levitation harness humming softly as it paused near clusters of human workers. Several were pulled from their stations, marched away for evaluation, when their emotional states registered irregularities. During the nutrition break, Elias managed to sidle near her dispensing station. "3 more ships entered orbit last night," he muttered, his lips barely moving. "Something's happening up there." Before Kara could respond, a supervisory drone descended between them. "Unauthorized communication. Return to your designated consumption areas." That night, no one risked gathering in the hidden chamber. Instead, Kara worked alone in her quarters, modifying a maintenance tool she'd smuggled inside her work suit. With delicate precision, she converted it into a signal jammer with a limited range, enough to temporarily blind nearby drones if necessary. 3 days passed in heightened tension. More humans disappeared for evaluation, and work shifts were extended to exhausting durations. The Xantari were pushing for increased production, as if stockpiling resources for conflict. On the 4th day, Kara noticed something odd during her shift. The Xantari guards were agitated, their normally precise movements becoming erratic. Communication channels buzzed with encrypted transmissions that leaked into the general frequency as static bursts. Most telling was the complete withdrawal of the mining supervisors from the outer extraction zones, an unprecedented breach of efficiency protocols. When the emergency klaxons sounded midway through the shift, ordering all workers to return to habitation units immediately, Kara knew something significant had changed. Instead of complying, she slipped away during the confusion, using maintenance access corridors to reach an observation port on the colony's upper level. What she saw through the reinforced viewport stole her breath. The night sky above Viridian 6, normally scattered with distant stars, and the occasional Xantari patrol ship, now blazed with weapons fire. Explosions blossomed silently in the vacuum, illuminating the dark side of the planet in brief, brilliant flashes. A battle was raging in orbit, and from the frantic communications she could intercept through her modified tool, the Xantari were losing. Kara didn't dare remain exposed for long. She retreated to the maintenance tunnels, making her way toward the hidden chamber where the resistance gathered. Already, others were converging, faces taut with tension and forbidden hope. "It's happening," Maya announced when Kara arrived. The older woman's hands trembled as she adjusted the makeshift communications array they'd assembled. "Multiple ships entered the system less than an hour ago. They're engaging the Xantari defense fleet. Who are they? Someone asked. How do we know they're ours? Look, Maya replied, turning the display to show a grainy image captured from a compromised colony sensor. The ships were sleek, deadly, unmistakably human in design, but more advanced than anything Kara had seen before, and emblazoned on their hulls was a symbol that brought tears to her eyes. The Phoenix-wrapped Earth of the Turan Reclamation Force, a theoretical last resort protocol that had existed only in contingency plans when she'd served in the fleet. They came back, whispered Elias, his voice cracking. After all this time. And they're not alone, added Thomas, pointing to ships of clearly alien design fighting alongside the human vessels. They'd brought allies. As they watched, the battle in orbit turned decisively. Xantari ships, caught unprepared despite their precautions, were systematically disabled or destroyed. Then came the transmission that confirmed everything. Broad spectrum, overriding all Xantari communication channels, echoing through every speaker in the colony. Attention humans of Viridian 6. This is Admiral Helena Chen of the Turan Reclamation Force. Earth endures. We have returned. Hold position. Liberation teams are inbound. I repeat, hold position. Thunder approaches. The coded phrase, thunder approaches, was the old emergency extraction protocol signal, confirming beyond doubt that this was truly humanity's return. Chaos erupted throughout the colony as Xantari forces scrambled to secure critical systems. The panicked guards began herding humans toward containment areas, likely intending to use them as hostages or shields. Alarms blared continuously, and in the distance, the first sounds of weapons fire could be heard as advance teams from the human fleet breached the colony's outer defenses. Kara locked eyes with her fellow resistance members. For years they had survived, keeping hope alive in whispers and secret meetings. Now the moment had arrived, and they were prepared. We know what to do, she said, her engineer's mind already mapping out critical targets. Maya, get to the communication hub. Elias, take a team to the shield generators. Thomas, secure as many of our people as you can before the Xantari consolidate. What about you? Elias asked. Kara held up her modified jammer. I'm going to the central control node. If I can disable their defense grid, our people can land without resistance. They dispersed with swift determination, years of planning unfolding into action. As Kara navigated the increasingly chaotic corridors of the colony, evading panicked guards and malfunctioning security systems, she caught glimpses through viewports of sleek dropships descending through the atmosphere, trailing fire against the darkening sky. Help wasn't just coming. It had arrived. And as she prepared to strike her blow against the empire that had enslaved her people, Kara allowed herself to fully embrace the emotion she had suppressed for so long. Not just hope, but certainty. Humanity had not forgotten its children. The long night of captivity was ending. Thunder had come at last /thunder from the stars. The central control node of Viridian 6 was a marvel of Xantari biomechanical engineering, a pulsing nexus of crystalline processors and living circuitry that managed every aspect of the mining colony. Under normal circumstances, it would have been impossible for Kara to approach within 100 meters of it. But these were not normal circumstances. Smoke filled the corridors as environmental systems failed across sections of the colony. Emergency lighting cast everything in a blood-red glow that made the fleeing Xantari technicians look like demons escaping the underworld. Kara moved against the tide. Using service tunnels and maintenance shafts, the resistance had mapped over years of careful observation. Her modified jammer proved invaluable, temporarily blinding security systems as she slipped past checkpoints. Twice she encountered Xantari guards, but they were too preoccupied with the chaos of the orbital bombardment to notice a single human moving with purpose through the shadows. When she reached the outer chamber of the control node, Kara paused to assess the situation. Through the translucent walls, She could see 5 Xantari controllers frantically manipulating the biological interface tentacles that connected them to the colony systems. At the center stood a Xantari of the command caste, its exoskeleton adorned with the red crystalline implants that marked its elevated status. "Increase power to the orbital defense grid," the commander hissed, its mandibles clicking in agitation. "Divert all non-essential resources. The humans cannot be allowed to establish a landing zone." Kara checked her jammer's power levels. Barely enough for one significant disruption. She would need to time it perfectly. From her hidden vantage point, she studied the layout of the control room, focusing on the pulsating crystal at its center, the primary power distribution node. A sudden explosion rocked the colony, close enough that Kara could feel the vibration through the deck plates. The Xantari commander chittered in alarm as status reports flooded in. "Human dropships have breached sectors 7 through 12, reported one of the controllers. "Defense drones are ineffective against their shielding technology." "Impossible," the commander retorted. "Their technology was inferior to ours when we conquered them." "These are not the same humans," the controller insisted. "Their ships are utilizing principles we have not encountered before." The revelation confirmed what Kara had suspected from the first glimpse of those sleek battleships in orbit. Humanity hadn't just been hiding. It had been evolving, advancing, preparing. Another explosion, closer this time. The control room's auxiliary lighting flickered. It was now or never. Kara activated her jammer at maximum power and burst from concealment. The Xantari security systems went momentarily blind, their organic circuitry overwhelmed by the focused electromagnetic pulse. She crossed the threshold into the control room, drawing the makeshift weapon she'd assembled from mining tools, a crude but effective shock lance. The nearest controller barely had time to register her presence before the lance connected with its thorax, discharging enough electricity to overload its nervous system. Kara moved with the fluid precision of someone who had mentally rehearsed this moment 1,000 times, striking 2 more controllers before they could respond effectively. The command case Xantari was quicker, its genetically enhanced reflexes allowing it to evade her first strike. It lashed out with a neural whip, a tendril of living energy that could incapacitate a human with a touch. Kara ducked under the crackling beam, using a console for cover as she worked her way toward the central crystal. "Human insurgent in the control node." The commander screeched into the communication system. "Security response immediate." Kara knew she had seconds at most. She abandoned stealth for speed, lunging toward the power distribution node. The remaining controllers moved to intercept her, but they were technicians, not warriors. Her shock lance claimed one more victim before she reached the crystal. The Xantari commander realized her intent too late. "Stop her. She'll destabilize the entire." Kara plunged her shock lance directly into the heart of the crystal. The discharge traveled through the living circuitry, cascading through systems never designed to handle such a crude but effective overload. The crystal's pulsing light intensified to blinding brilliance before shattering in a shower of razor-sharp fragments. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. For the Xantari, throughout the colony, defense systems went offline. Shield generators powered down. Automated weapon emplacements fell silent. The carefully maintained control that had kept thousands of humans in bondage for 15 years crumbled in an instant. Kara barely registered the Xantari commander lunging toward her, neural whip raised for a killing strike. Before it could reach her, the doorway exploded inward. Armored figures swept into the room, their weapons discharging with precise, devastating effect. The commander's exoskeleton shattered under the impact of multiple high-energy rounds. One of the armored figures approached Kara, the faceplate of their helmet retracting to reveal human features. A woman with dark skin and intense eyes that evaluated Kara in seconds. "Engineer Novak?" the soldier asked, her voice carrying the crisp authority of command. "Commander Riley, Terran Special Operations. Your signal disruption made our landing possible. Well done." Kara stared at the advanced combat suit, technology far beyond anything humanity had possessed when Viridian 6 fell. "How did you find us?" How did you know I was here? Your resistance has been transmitting for years, Riley replied, securing the room with practiced efficiency as her team established a defensive perimeter. We couldn't acknowledge until we were ready to strike. As for you specifically, Maya told us where to find you when we secured the communication hub. Relief flooded through Kara. Maya had succeeded in her mission. The others. Most sectors are already under our control. The Xantari weren't prepared for our tactics. Commander Riley handed Kara a compact sidearm. Think you remember how to use this? The weapon felt both strange and familiar in Kara's hand. A piece of her former life returning. Like riding a bicycle, Commander. Riley's communications device chimed. She listened to the incoming message, a tight smile forming on her lips. The shield generators are down. Admiral Chen is requesting your presence for the colony address. The Admiral wants to see me. Kara asked, bewildered. You and the other resistance leaders. This isn't just a rescue mission, Engineer Novak. It's the beginning of the reclamation. The colony's central plaza had been transformed. Where once Xantari propaganda displays had dominated the open space, now a massive holographic projection of the Terran fleet filled the sky. Thousands of liberated humans gathered below, many still bearing the dirt and exhaustion of their interrupted work shifts, staring upward in wonder and disbelief. Kara stood on the raised platform alongside the other resistance leaders, Maya, Elias, Thomas, still struggling to process the rapid change in their circumstances. Beside them, resplendent in a uniform that bore the insignia of an Earth she had thought lost, stood Admiral Helena Chen. For 15 years, the Admiral began, her amplified voice carrying across the hushed crowd. The Xantari Empire believed they had broken humanity. They thought us scattered, defeated, reduced to slavery or extinction. They were wrong. On cue, the holographic display shifted to show images that brought gasps of recognition. Earth itself, its blue oceans and swirling cloud patterns unmistakable. Earth was never destroyed, Admiral Chen continued. The Xantari attack damaged our planetary defense systems and contaminated portions of our atmosphere, but they underestimated human resilience. While they conquered our outer colonies, Earth healed, and we prepared. The display changed again, showing vast shipyards hidden in Earth's Lagrange points and beneath the lunar surface, fleets under construction, training facilities, and most surprisingly, alien races working alongside humans, species Kara had never seen before. We were not alone in recognizing the threat the Xantari Empire posed to sentient freedom. Other races, subjugated before us or fearing they would be next, joined our cause. Together, we formed the Galactic Concordance, a pact to end Xantari domination permanently. Murmurs rippled through the crowd as the implications sank in. This wasn't just a rescue, it was a revolution on a cosmic scale. For over a decade, we operated in secret, building our strength, developing technologies that could counter Xantari advantages, establishing bases beyond their detection range. We collected intelligence from countless sources, including the brave resistance movements on occupied worlds like this one. The Admiral turned to acknowledge Kara and the other resistance leaders with a respectful nod. Viridian 6 is not the first colony we've liberated, but it represents a strategic turning point. With its resources and position, we now control the corridor that will allow us to strike at the heart of Xantari space. As if to punctuate her words, new ships appeared in the holographic display. Massive, sleek vessels clearly designed for deep space operations. Their design incorporated elements of both human and alien engineering, representing the fusion of technologies the Concordance had achieved. The road ahead remains challenging, Admiral Chen cautioned. The Xantari still control significant portions of what was once human space. There will be more battles, more sacrifices. But make no mistake, humanity has returned to the galactic stage, and we will not rest until all our people are free. The crowd erupted in cheers, years of suppressed emotion breaking free at last. Kara felt tears streaming down her face, unashamed of their public display. Around her, Similar reactions played out. People embracing, crying, laughing in disbelief. After the Admiral's address, Kara found herself in what had once been the Xantari governor's office, now repurposed as a Terran command center. Admiral Chen had requested a private debriefing with the Resistance leadership, seeking details that hadn't been captured in their transmissions. "The beacon you reactivated was crucial," the Admiral explained. "It didn't just alert us to your location, it provided authentication codes that confirmed human survivors were operating it. Without that certainty, we might have delayed the operation further." "Why did it take so long?" Elias asked, the question that had burned in all their minds through years of captivity. 15 years. Admiral Chen's expression grew solemn. After the initial Xantari assault, Earth's remaining fleet was scattered and badly damaged. Our industrial capacity was crippled. If we had attempted a counterattack then, it would have ended in total defeat. She activated a display showing the progression of the Concordance's strength over time. The slow, steady buildup of ships, resources, and allies. We had to be certain we could not only liberate colonies, but hold them against counterattack. The Xantari Empire spans 12 star systems. We needed the capability to challenge their full military might. Maya studied the display with professional interest. These communication systems, they're unlike anything we had before the invasion. Quantum entanglement technology, the Admiral confirmed. Ironically, adapted from principles we observed in captured Xantari equipment. It allows instantaneous communication across any distance without detectable signals. Perfect for coordinating a resistance movement. Kara pointed to a section of the star chart where numerous human ships appeared to be congregating. "What's happening there?" "That," Admiral Chen replied with grim satisfaction, "is the next phase of the operation, the Xantari homeworld." The implication silenced everyone momentarily. Not just liberation, but taking the fight directly to the empire that had subjugated them. "Will the colony be evacuated?" Thomas asked. "The people here have suffered enough." "That choice will be yours to make," the Admiral assured them. "We can transport anyone who wishes to return to Earth or other secure Concordance worlds. But we also need volunteers to help hold this position. Viridian 6 is strategically valuable. Its celium mines could supply our fleet for years." "You're offering us a choice," Kara realized, the concept almost foreign after years of compulsory labor. "Freedom means nothing without choices," Engineer Novak. Speaking of which, the Admiral produced a datapad displaying personnel records that Kara recognized immediately. Her own service file, preserved despite the years and chaos of war. "The Concordance has need of experienced engineers. Your expertise with Xantari systems, combined with your adaptive skills demonstrated during captivity, would be invaluable to our technical division." Before Kara could respond, alarms suddenly blared throughout the command center. A communications officer burst through the door, face tense with urgency. "Admiral, long-range sensors have detected a Xantari battle group entering the system. 6 capital ships, including a Dominance-class dreadnought." Admiral Chen's expression hardened as she rose from her seat. "Sooner than expected. They must have had a rapid response fleet closer than our intelligence indicated." She turned to Kara and the Resistance leaders. "This briefing is concluded for now. Please report to the evacuation centers. Non-combat personnel should be prepared to shelter or relocate as directed." As they moved to comply, the Admiral caught Kara's arm. "Unless you prefer to observe from the command deck, Engineer, your insights on Xantari tactics could prove useful, and it would give you a chance to see what humanity has become in your absence." Kara exchanged glances with her fellow Resistance members, receiving nods of understanding. They had fought their battle in shadows and whispers for years. Now they would witness humanity's return to open warfare. "I'd be honored, Admiral." The battle for Viridian 6 unfolded with a precision that left Kara breathless. From the command deck of the TCS Phoenix, Admiral Chen's flagship, she watched as human and allied ships executed maneuvers that seemed impossible. phasing through space in ways that defied conventional propulsion, employing shield technologies that absorbed Xantari weapons fire without faltering. Quantum slitstream drives, explained the tactical officer, noticing Kara's amazement, and adaptive phase shields, the Concordance's greatest technological achievements. The Xantari battle group, formidable as it was, found itself outmatched by tactics it had never encountered and technology it couldn't counter. Within hours, the Dreadnought and 3 capital ships had been disabled, their crews captured. The remaining vessels retreated in disarray, jumping to faster-than-light speed with damage that would announce their defeat to any who witnessed their arrival elsewhere. As the tension on the command deck eased, Admiral Chen approached Kara, who still stood transfixed by the tactical display. "Your thoughts, Engineer Novak." Kara turned to face her, emotions warring within her, relief, vindication, but also a strange sense of loss for the years that could never be reclaimed. "I thought Earth had forgotten us," she admitted. "All those years believing we were alone, abandoned, not forgotten." The Admiral corrected gently. "Never that. But we needed to be strong enough to ensure that when we returned, it would be for good." She gestured toward the viewport, where Viridian 6 gleamed against the blackness of space. "What happened here, what happened to all our colonies, will never happen again. Humanity has learned its lesson about being divided and unprepared." In the days that followed, reconstruction began across the colony. Terran medical teams treated injuries and health conditions long neglected under Xantari rule. Supply ships brought food, clothing, and technology that many colonists had thought lost forever. Perhaps most importantly, they brought news. Histories of Earth's recovery, records of other colonies liberated before Viridian 6, messages from family members who had believed their loved ones dead. For Kara, the most profound change was psychological. The constant vigilance, the need to hide her thoughts and emotions from Xantari detection, gave way to a freedom that was almost overwhelming. She found herself laughing openly for the first time in years, allowing herself to imagine a future beyond the next work shift or secret meeting. 1 week after liberation, she made her decision, reporting to the personnel office established in what had once been the colony administrator's quarters. Engineer Novak greeted the officer on duty. "Admiral Chen mentioned you might be coming by. Have you considered her offer?" Kara handed over her completed application for the Concordance Engineering Corps. "I have skills the Resistance needed. Now those same skills can help make sure no other human worlds suffer as we did." The officer reviewed her application with approval. "Your experience with Xantari systems will be invaluable. The Concordance fleet can integrate you immediately." As she completed the enlistment process, Kara glanced out the window at the transformed colony plaza. Where once statues of Xantari dominance had stood, now construction crews were erecting a memorial, a simple obelisk inscribed with the names of those who had not survived to see liberation. Maya approached as Kara exited the building, the former communications specialist now wearing the insignia of a Concordance civilian advisor. "So you're joining the fleet," Maya observed, noting the new credentials in Kara's hand. "Someone needs to make sure they understand what we learned about Xantari technology," Kara replied. "What about you?" "Communications liaison for the colony transition government. It seems our resistance skills remain in demand, just in different ways now." They'd walked together through streets bustling with a purposeful energy that had been absent under Xantari rule. Human laughter mingled with the occasional calls of alien languages as Concordance personnel from various species collaborated on reconstruction efforts. "Did you ever truly believe they would come?" Maya asked softly, the question that had defined their existence for 15 years. Kara considered her answer carefully. "I believed we had to act as if they would," she finally replied. Hope was too dangerous to embrace fully, but too necessary to abandon completely. Maya nodded in understanding. "And now?" Kara's gaze lifted to the sky, where the silhouettes of Terran ships stood guard over the liberated colony. Beyond them, invisible to the naked eye but present in her mind's eye, waited the vastness of space, and a humanity transformed by adversity into something stronger than the Xantari had ever anticipated. Now, she said, we bring the thunder to them.